Hi, I'm Ale. Welcome to the video number 10 of this programming course. Today we will see what loops are by creating a program that prints and tests the number of times indicated by the user, such as when the teacher asks it to write a sentence several times. I will explain to you how the program that we are going to carry out works. Suppose your teacher tells you that you must write 5 times the phrase, "I must pay attention." First, we need a variable that stores the text that you are going to write 5 times. We need another variable that stores the number of times that the teacher is asking you that you write the phrase. And finally, we need to open another variable that will count how many times you have already written the phrase in your notebook. It will start at 0 and will increase. This variable is not an input data because the user will not enter it. It will simply count the times that the phrase has been written. We can represent a loop as follows. Just as in conditional statements, we have a condition, but the difference is that in a conditional statement, the program only reads the condition, chooses one path or another, and the condition ends. Loops are different, because if the condition is false, the loop will repeat. Let's go back to the example. We have the phrase that is going to be written 5 times, which is "I must pay attention." Then we have the number of times we are going to write the sentence. I will call this variable num phrases. Finally, we have the variable that counts how many times the sentence has already been written. I will name this variable counter. In the loop condition, we have that the loop will repeat itself until the counter variable is greater than or equal to num phrases. Start the program and the counter variable is equal to 0 and the num phrases variable is equal to 5. The program will arrive at the condition and ask, "Is 0 greater than or equal to 5? The answer is no, so the program will enter the loop. Here we have this output symbol that says that we must print the phrase "I must pay attention." Then the program will print the sentence. Below we have an operation that says that 1 is going to be added to counter. Then the counter variable will go from being worth 0 to being worth 1. That was the first round of the loop. The program will return to the condition and will again compare the counter variable with the num phrases variable. This time the counter is equal to 1. The program will ask, "Is 1 greater than or equal to 5? The answer is no, so the program will enter the loop again. Here it's again with this instruction that says to print the phrase, then the program will print the phrase again. The program continues and finds the instruction that 1 must be added to the counter, then the counter variable will go from being worth 1 to being worth 2. The cycle returns to the condition and asks again, "Is counter that is worth 2 greater than or equal to num phrases that is worth 5? The answer is no, so it will enter the loop again, where it will print the sentence and add 1 to counter. Now counter is worth 3. Is 3 greater than or equal to 5? No. Print the phrase and add 1 to counter. Now counter is worth 4. Is 4 greater than or equal to 5? No. Print the phrase and add 1 to counter. Now counter is 5. Then the program will get to the condition and ask, "Counter that is equal to 5 is greater than or equal to num phrases that is equal to 5? The condition this time is true, so the program will take the path that says yes and exits the loop. The loops will keep repeating until the condition we put on them is true. If the condition is never true, the loop can continue forever. Now let's carry out the algorithm of the program. In the input data we have the phrase that is going to be printed and the number of times that the phrase will be printed. In the process we'll have a loop that will be repeated until the phrase is printed the indicated times. In the output data, we'll obtain the phrase printed the number of times that was indicated to the program. Now I'm going to make the program in Raptor. First, I'm going to save the program. I'm going to declare the variable where the phrase will be placed, and I'm going to name this variable phrase. and at the bottom I'm going to put a couple of quotation marks. By placing a pair of quotation marks, we are indicating to the program that this variable is to contain a text data type. I will place another assignment symbol, and here I'm going to declare the variable for the number of times the sentence will be printed. I will name it num phrases, and at the bottom I will indicate that it's numeric. Finally, I'm going to declare the variable that will count how many times the sentence has already been printed. I will name it counter, and at the bottom I will indicate that worth 0. Now I'm going to ask the user for the data. For that, I'm going to place two input symbols. In the first, I'm going to write between quotation marks, insert the phrase that you want to print. And in the lower part, I will ask it to place it in the phrase variable. In the following, I will write insert the number of times that you want to print the phrase. And at the bottom, I will tell it to place it in the variable num phrases. Now the loop. Raptor has this symbol that helps us to build loops. I'm going to take the loop symbol and place it here. If you look, it's like in the example that I showed you. Here we have a condition and these two paths. I'm going to open the condition and I'm going to ask it to compare if the counter variable is greater than or equal to the variable num phrases. If the answer is not true, the program will take this path that returns to the condition. In this path, I'm going to place an output symbol and I will ask it to print the phrase. The phrase is already in the phrase variable, so I'm only going to call it by placing its name. Then I'm going to ask it to add 1 to the counter. For this, I'm going to place an assignment symbol. I will open it. Remember that in programming we read from right to left, so what we write below will be saved in the variable that we place at the top. So I'm going to write put the result in the variable count and do the sum of count plus 1. I'm going to start the program. I will put the sample sentence. You must pay attention. Now I will ask it to print the sentence 5 times. The program ends and shows us the printed phrase 5 times. If you have any questions, you can leave it in the comments. That's all for today. I'm Ale. See you in the next video.